Are we up?
And we are live with Linda. Here we are on this Saturday morning. Welcome, everyone, those who are attending this live stream. Appreciate you coming in. Hopefully you've got your favorite beverage in front of you. You're kicking back, taking it easy, sitting in front of your iPad or your tablet. I shouldn't say iPad. That kind of narrows everybody to Apple. Your tablet, let's say your tablet, and or a laptop or computer, whatever you're on, your phone, right? You could be on your phone. Glad to have you here. So we have got an interesting subject to talk about. We kind of alluded to men in the past here, and I have no problem putting my hand up saying, yeah, we're not the smartest on the planet. And so we're going to talk about real men. What is it, Linda? You say it. This is your thing.
Yeah, I was saying my little newsletter went out announcing "Real Men Don't Detox?" ? With Charlie Sheen on there.
Yeah.
I think he's a classic character of what we're sort of talking about here.
That's right. Yeah. So, and where this we were talking about this, and it was like, I remember this book years ago, Real Men Don't Eat Quiche. And I'm a real man because I don't like quiche. And I purposely wore my old dirt bike top here from my dirt bike racing days. So I am a real man, at least in my own mind anyway. I can't maybe do as much as I did when I was a younger man, but hey, we try. And then we hurt ourselves, and then we convalesce for a week or two, and then we get back at it again.
Well, isn't that funny? Because I was talking to my medical doctor friend who's living in Kauai now. We invited him, but he wasn't able to make it because of the hours. Right. But he was saying that in his practice, being a guy thing, and orthopedic surgeon and emergency doc, he says, we only really see the guys come in when they have a trauma. or an injury or a need immediate repair. He says, I don't think it's changed much in conventional medicine until they sort of have those, high blood pressure, can't breathe, chest pain. Then you see them.
Yeah. And even at that, they may pause at the emergency thing thinking, do I really need to be here? Do I really need to go in? When I was younger, when I was in my teens, they had a file folder probably about that thick with all my x-rays and stuff from all my extreme sports. And yeah, I didn't go in unless I can remember one time we were playing flag football. I'd injured my knee in doing some martial arts, and it was all flaky. My knee was all flaky, but it was like, I'll walk it off, right? And then we were playing flag football, and the meniscus broke off, jammed between the joint, and I couldn't straighten my leg. Like it had actually jammed in there. Then I decided, well, maybe I should go in. And so they went in and, we got to operate. And they had, that was in the old days when they didn't have the orthoscope. They actually, put a big gash in you, went in there and pulled the meniscus that broke off, or the cartilage that broke off. And yeah, it was a I probably could have, not had to go through all of that if I would have went in earlier. But no, we're kind of wired a little differently than women when it comes to that kind of stuff. So that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about and detoxing is not, like Linda, you said before, detoxing is not specifically, a guy girl thing. It's everybody thing. But we're going to talk about some of the Well, let's just be honest here. Let's talk about how stupid guys are when it comes to men's health, and so let's dive in here. Now, I want to just say before we start, we've had some people say, "Hey, I can't comment or I can't like or subscribe," and that's because you actually have to set up a YouTube or a Google account. And if on the top right hand corner it says sign in, that means you're not signed in. So you want to click on that, set up an account. They're free. It takes maybe 5 minutes tops, and then you can get in and you can comment and do all those great things. So
Yeah,
let's
we'd like
let's
to hear from you.
yeah, we'd like to hear from you. Yeah, we've had a few comments for those who have YouTube or Google accounts. So this may be new for some of you. What? Set up a Google account? I just go and watch YouTube and stuff like that. Yeah, well, if you want to comment, you got to have a handle in there. So
Well, Gary, do you think we can maybe put a little short blurb together that we can sort of send out to people the next time I
absolutely.
notify them and just say these are the basic steps
Yep,
and
yep.
make it easy for those of us that aren't so technique
Absolutely.
savvy?
I'll do a little video up and it will show you how to set up an account. It's really simple. And in fact, if you Google setting up a YouTube account, there's probably
There it is.
2,000 people in there that have already done it too. So maybe let's just do that. And if you still have problems, we'll talk about it next week. And if you're still having problems, you can, we can do a video up too. But there's just Google. All you have to do is Google up setting up a YouTube account.
Okay.
Or even a Google account. All you need is a Google account, really. That's all you
Okay,
need.
well, remember they're going to miss us next week because we're not doing it next week.
That's right. We're taking a break, a Christmas break. No, we're not. It's not a Christmas break. We're just
Oh my goodness.
no. We got conflicting things going on, and so we're not going to be able to do it next week. So that's okay.
So enjoy this one.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes. So the guys usually come in kicking, scratching, biting, usually with their wives or their girlfriends to uh, they're concerned for them. They want them to have the healthiest life ever because let's
Yeah.
face it, if your partner isn't well, it impacts your life. So the women are dragging the guys in. And that's what I normally see. Although I have to admit, there have been a few interesting characters that have come through the doorway, not to mention you, Gary, but specific.
What are you talking about?
And you're making some good stabs at it, but you need a little
Oh,
focus on a direction to take care of a few things. And it was great to see you.
yeah, we don't even want to go down that road. I'm your typical show up when I'm down and out in Beverly Hills, and other than that, it's like okay, carry on, move on, shake it off. Yeah.
Okay, so, but why did you, maybe let's talk a little bit about why you ended up looking at alternative medicine. Like, that's not a guy thing either.
No, I was interested in it. I had a friend when I was in my late teens. I've been out of the house for quite a while and batching with a bunch of guys. And this one friend, our fridge consisted of a bottle of jam, and I don't even think there was a loaf of bread in the fridge. I can't remember. So we ate out all the time. So this friend of mine would always ask when we'd go and order something, he'd go, "Is that homemade?" And I go, "What the heck? What do you mean? Is that homemade?" And it used to bug me. And then finally I asked him, "So what do you keep asking? Is that homemade?" He says, "Well, I don't like all the garbage in there." So that kind of triggered me, and I started thinking, okay, well, what's in our food? And then I started getting into the health thing, and I took some courses on just basic understanding of vitamins and stuff like that, and then I took a kinesiology course on the meridians and that sort of stuff, trying to understand. And this stuff was all new to me, and it was really interesting, and that started it. And I was probably 18 or 19, I guess, when I started that. And then it just kind of got, I just kind of kept up with it. But it was kind of hit and miss. I would take the stuff when I was feeling like garbage, and then I
Ah,
would feel okay when I was feeling fine, out of sight, out of mind, and away I went. And so it was hit and miss. And then as I've gotten older, it's been one of those things where, okay, each morning is a new event. Like, where did that ache come from? Or where did this little, mark on my face come from? It's like, what the heck? And then you walk by the mirror and it's like, who the heck is this old dude, walking by the mirror? Because inside I still feel like 20. Like, I don't know. This is all confusing to me.
And I think you hit a very good point. Like, and it's not just guys. Most of us, if we're good, even the supplements like the daily vitamin D, vitamin C goes out the window because, hey, we don't need that. So feeling good today.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's all based on that. And I think bringing it around to the machoism of guys, as the MD was noticing, is he says, we're kind of stupid. Meaning like men. He
Oh,
says,
yeah.
we don't think we're unhealthy. We might be overweight. We're not fit. And we think we're still healthy because there isn't any huge emergency going on.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I remember. We were doing this outdoor thing with some youth, and we were playing street hockey. And I thought, I'm going to because I used to play hockey when I was younger, and so I thought I went on full on. Just I went for it. Oh, 2 weeks of misery and pain after that, because the old 20-year-old spirit in me, was trying to do one thing, and the older body was just like, no, that ain't going to happen. You're not going to be doing this. And so I paid the price for it. And so there's an interesting thing, not only with, what we think in our head, but what we don't, for guys anyway, we kind of just ignore the body to a certain extent unless it gets really bad. I can remember, and I thought I was having a heart attack. It was a panic attack, but I thought I was having a heart attack. I drove out, and remember at the beginning of this, we started here. I said, "Yeah, we'll go, but we'll sit there in front of the emergency room." That was me. I sat in my car thinking, "Do I really need to go in? I'm having this chest pain and everything." I was thinking I was having a heart attack, and I thought, "No, I'll be okay." And I left. Thank goodness it was just a panic attack. I find out later. It was just stress. It was brought on by stress. But there you go. So I'm a good example of what not to do.
But it is the rare, you're a rare bird. You were talking about 18, 19 years old. You were curious and started getting into the health kick. I mean, guys might do that because they want to punk up, beef up. They start looking at, protein shakes and supplements because they want to build. And that's another fault of general society in thinking about how to do preventative medicine, or how can I improve my health for longevity, because what you're doing in the first 60 years is going to impact your later 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah, yeah.
That knowledge has to come to the forefront. And it's what we take and our fitness, but we also have to take a look at what can we remove. So if we're doing excess heavy foods, if we're doing a lot of alcohol, a lot of sugars, fats, those things have to be taken out, not added in.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's a detox right there. Just being aware of, what can I remove for a period of time. So a guy came in, he was 40 years old, and told me, I was impressed. He had read some things about curing his arthritis. He wasn't seeing me about his arthritis anymore because that was gone. Mm-hmm. But what he did, he did a 30-day fast, like no food, and cured his arthritis. So that's the other interesting thing about guys. They need to do radical. Like, what's with the radical stuff?
I don't know. I can't answer that. That's
it's like hard and fast. Like I'm gonna only have that cayenne juice, cayenne lemon water, and maple syrup. That's what he did for 30 days without a doctor's supervision, which is what they always recommend. But hey, he did it. He's a smart guy. If he knows he's running into trouble, I'm sure he would have gone to the doctors.
Yeah.
I had another guy. He had 60 pounds to lose. So what did he do? Mono diet, apples. All he did was eat 10 apples a day on top of some other food, and he lost to 60 pounds in 6 months. I'm not recommending that. It's just that's what he chose to do.
Yeah.
Like radical things, and guys want to, seems like they need to have something that shows up right away. Like if I say, oh, you should increase your zinc and your omegas and vitamin C, well, what's the result of that? Like, it's not tomorrow.
Yeah.
They don't see any benefit right
No,
away.
we're
So
not.
it's not your mindset.
Yeah, I didn't get preventative until it was later on. When I was younger, I got into the health stuff. It was more for for performance and stuff like that. Like I was taking bees pollen because I read an article that the Russian athletes were using bee pollen to break down the lactic acid after because if you're on a 45-minute moto on a motocross track, you're going full out, and it's probably one of the most demanding sports in your body is motocross.
And your mind, if you ask me.
Well, and you're so focused. Well, yeah, okay, yeah. From a female's perspective, I can see that. But although there are a lot of females that are now racing motocross, but you would go on a race and even on a I used to do what they call 100-mile cross country races, and you just don't know what's around the next corner. And just to show you how dumb guys are, okay, this is how dumb we are. I paid money to go in this. It was well, I've done a few of them, but 100-mile, and so it's a figure eight. And so you go out and you don't know, so you got 50 miles, not kilometers, 50 miles of you don't know what the heck you're going to come into. And I can remember on the last leg, I came to a creek. I just fell off my bike into the creek. I just laid in the creek thinking, what am I doing to myself? And that's how stupid we are sometimes. We just, we'll go until we break. And I don't know why we're wired like that. But I think this is part of the thing where we put things off. It's like, okay, I don't want to know about that. And, we're going to be talking about a little bit more in detox and, for guys, prostate problems where we kind of, we put it off. We don't think about it and we don't want to know about it, right? Because, I don't know, we don't want to know about it.
It is kind of a focus. People would say it's driven, but, men's minds tend to, once they have an idea and a plan, that's the plan.
Yeah.
So they don't diverge from the plan very easily unless they encounter some interruptus problem.
Yeah.
And then they go, hey, I think I've got a bigger problem here. And it's a lot of conventional medicine will throw the hook out there. Well, you're getting old, Gary. Like, it's all about the oldness.
Yeah.
And nothing makes me more crazy when I hear people use that as an excuse. Because I have very vital over 85-year-old people. My dad's a great example. He's 90 years old and going strong.
Yeah.
No medication. So thanks to me. But I beat him with a stick if he's not taking his stuff because I know how often he asks me for his bottle of vitamins.
Yeah.
But again, the motocross thing you were talking about, like, you need the bee pollen. See, you're focused on the replenishing. Like, what can I replenish with after I knocked myself out?
Yeah.
Instead of, okay, let's also look at, these days, bioaccumulation, our environment is toxic. The stress is toxic. We produce hormones that offset and begin an inflammatory response. So how do we get rid of the inflammatory response? And that's when you start looking at detoxification programs for draining off the damage that's being created in the tissues, not just from wear and tear.
So here's a question.
From aging. Oh my God.
Yeah, here's a question for you. I used to take, when I first started doing the detox, it wasn't like, oh, I think I'm going to go in detox. It was, I was seeing Dr. Terry Willard at the time, and when I first moved to Calgary area, I was looking for a health practitioner. He's the first person that I bumped into or found out about, and I was having gallbladder problems at the time, and
You
And
still have your
so
gallbladder, right?
I still have my gallbladder. He said, and one of the things he said is that if you need to get it taken out, you get it taken out. But if you don't, he says, so let's work on it. And so we worked on it, and I still have it, and still working fine. And
And I'm
um,
going to stop you there because this is another thing that drives me crazy, and I need to mention it. It's not a gallbladder problem; it's a liver problem. And
the
right,
symptom, the
and
symptom was the symptom was gallbladder.
well, of course.
Yeah,
And then people run off and get this little gallbladder taken out, and they think everything's good, but it's not because
yeah,
it's actually a bigger problem
yeah.
upstream. It's the liver. So
Yeah,
never
and that's
mind.
and that's a good point because I didn't know anything about that sort of. All I knew is I had gallbladder attacks and
Sorry.
I won't. That's for another
Yeah,
story.
yeah, yeah.
But so the first detox that I took was Terry Willer's detox, and it was like, are you kidding me? Like I can't eat this and can't eat that, and so that was,
Oh,
in my opinion, that was an extreme detox. Now there are different types of detoxes,
yeah,
and maybe we discuss that. So for those men and women who probably need to detox probably once a year or maybe more. I know for myself when I first started, I had to detox back to back twice. He had me do it because I was in such bad shape. But hey, I didn't think I was that bad. But everybody's need for a detox is different. We go to extreme, a high intensity one, or a gentle, gradual one. So, can you want to talk about, what's,
yeah.
for, what's
Well,
the,
guys,
let's talk about, like a prostate thing where people are, getting older and,
yeah, yeah. I think we should talk about prostate another time, maybe. But again, it's linked into being excused as a aging process.
right,
It's not necessary. I'm just going to say because if a person starts to eat well, detoxify, take the right supplements like zinc and selenium are excellent for men to help balance their own hormones so they don't enlarge their prostate and process them out of their bodies. That's what detox does to help the prostate. And if they're sitting too much, because you need exercise and circulation to help move and massage that gland. But that's enough said.
yeah.
But
And the only reason I brought that up was because
yeah,
we were talking, we are going to kind of emphasis was Movember and that whole thing on that, but we don't need to. Like we could just
yeah.
talk about detox and the
Well,
importance of it. Because is this a good time of the year for a detox? Or is
yeah,
it,
it's
yeah.
still okay. We're not 30 below, and any time is actually a good time for detox.
Okay,
It's
good
just
to
if
know.
it's the first time you've done it, you probably don't want to do it when you're under a lot of stress.
Mm.
That
So
might
maybe
not
not before
be.
Christmas when you have to go do all your shopping, is what you're saying.
Maybe it depends on if it's the very first time you've ever done it.
Yeah.
But you can do. There's different like DEFCON 1, 2, 3, 4 types of cleanses,
Yeah.
and your Terry Willard Wild Rose off the shelf detox kit may be something that people can use. Some of it's a bit too harsh. Just use things a half dose. Guys can look at this and go, "Here's the instructions," and I can just do it. The interesting thing is the diet might be a bit too complicated for them.
I
Like,
found
I
that.
can't eat this, I can't eat that, just like you were saying. And
Well,
I
I
thought, well,
felt,
what if just say no alcohol? How about
yeah,
just say no alcohol and no sugar and
yeah,
anything that has sugar in it? Just start there. And one
yeah,
more thing, nothing out of a box or a can.
yeah.
Oh, that's enough information. Okay, I can't eat that because it came out of a jar, a can, a box.
Yeah. See,
And
when I started looking at this, I'm going, I can't have that. I can,
yeah,
and it's like, what can I have? Like eat dirt and drink water? Like it was
well,
and there was no like, give me some
back to the
recipes or
guy
something
thing.
like that. It was like, oh,
Well,
anyway.
like sort of a single or focus thing for guys. Hate to say it,
I like
but
that approach though, what you just said, start off, just no alcohol, no sugar, canned or boxed, whatever. I could have worked around that, right, at the time, but it was like, here, take this detox. Oh, geez, okay.
and motivation. Like, what's the motivation? Like, if they're feeling inflamed, puffy, got digestive, heartburn, burping, farting, typical guy things that women complain about. That's probably a good indication. My more technical crowd needs to have evidence. So they look at their blood work from their doctor and say, hey, my cholesterol's bad.
Yeah.
These GGT on my liver enzymes is going through the roof, even though I might not drink alcohol. What
Yeah.
is that? And
Yeah.
then another one, they just, it's kind of, well, how about some other new interesting fancy tests like hair analysis, waiting for yours to come back, by the way. And the, um, people, depending on their profession, are exposed to a lot of interesting chemicals in the oil patch here. Like one guy was a meter checker, and we're both flabbergasted at how high his lead and arsenic and cadmium came back. Like, who would have
Wow.
known? We wouldn't have known unless we
Yeah.
just decided to run this test.
So is it good when you approach doing a detox, it's good to do your homework, I would imagine, like these hair analysis or other stuff to kind of get a zero in on what kind of detox? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, again, like DEFCON 1, 2, 3, 4. Like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, this guy's on a 4. We have to really
Yeah.
get going on moving some of his lymphatic. And what he came in about was his varicose veins were bothering him, and he's had a tremor in his hands.
Oh yeah.
So I thought, hey, this has been your profession. Let's just maybe decide to do this. Tremor can obviously be lots of different reasons, but it is well known that heavy metals can aggravate the nervous system. So that's where we are, and that's going to be a work in progress for a while. Like, that is not a big, that is a big fix. And smaller detox, such as let's work on heartburn, meaning like gallbladder, liver problems, that might be a shorter term fix.
Yeah.
So we can,
And that's the thing too with the detox. You may not know. I can remember I watched an interview with Tony Robbins, and he was saying how he was starting to get brain fog, and he couldn't figure out why, because that's his living, right? And he couldn't figure out why. And he went in for a heavy metal test, and it was like through the roof with the mercury. And it was from eating. He was eating healthy, but he was eating swordfish and tuna, and they have a lot of mercury. So his heavy metals were through the roof, and it was affecting his cognitive ability. And he could see where he was declining there, and they turned it around, but it took a long time to turn it around, but his naturopath helped him turn it around. But those are the things we don't know. We may think we're eating healthy, but we may have something that we are eating that is affecting us. We may have brain fog and blame it on this or that, but it could be something we're taking in, or something that we're exposed to, like you mentioned, right?
yeah, absolutely. And thanks for mentioning like a celeb like Tony Robbins actually using alternative medicine, people. Oh my goodness. Because it's not well known, but the Queen actually has a homeopath, a naturopath, and an astrologer.
Really?
Yes.
Wow,
So
didn't know that.
the royal family has always used other methods
Yeah.
to balance and keep
Yeah.
health and make decisions and all kinds of things.
Well, I think in a lot of the European countries, they do have a blended. When you go to the clinic, they have a blended thing. They'll have different practices there because they're looking holistically of fixing the person. And I know from a fact that Western medicine isn't the best for diagnosis. Where there are in the naturopathic area, there are other ways like kinesiology or muscle testing and iridology and these sorts of things that can nail down way more specific stuff. I remember when I first got introduced to kinesiology, this guy shook my hand and he says, "Oh, you've had problems here and here." And he was looking, I guess he was doing iridology at the same time. But he nailed me. He said, "Yeah, you've had problems in the knee, the one that I was telling you about that had the cartilage." And he started telling me things that I had in the past, not current, but things I know. And holy crap, yeah. So some people have a really gift to be able to see and use those things from a diagnostic standpoint. Where in the medical industry, I mean, you have to have them; they're great, but sometimes the diagnostics may not be as accurate. I think now that maybe that's just my experience. I could be off.
Well, like, and I don't use iridology per se, as in the iris. I use the sclerology, so the white part of the eye
Mm.
is where I have been trained to ascertain previous or weaknesses in the body. And when you talk about nailing down the diagnosis, again, that's a guy thing. Sorry to point it out, Gary. Got to nail it down, but it's usually many factors,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know that.
Yeah.
You better know that by now.
I do.
So it's multifactorial. Like it is diet, it is our stress levels, it is our bioaccumulation. All of this is individual.
Yeah.
So not just trying, but doing all of those things makes the difference. And
Yeah.
guys need to be cultivated,
Yeah.
become Renaissance men or whatever that term is.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And and I think not only for men but for women too. And I think women may be more on top of this when it comes to looking after themselves, right? They this is kind of a thing that's taught to them when they're young, right? As far as
Yeah, because
they
they're going to
watch
be
their
looking
mums,
after
and yeah, they're always taking care of themselves.
caretakers. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And
sort of
guys,
the rule.
yeah, exactly. And guys aren't so much. But so for ladies out there that have husbands, guys don't like to be nagged or bugged, but nag and bug. I mean,
But
go
friends
for it.
too.
Maybe all you need to do is say, plant the seed. That's probably the best thing for a guy. If it's his decision, maybe I should go in, but you got to play. You got to be strategic. You can't just come out and say, "Hey, you should go in and get a prostate check." That's not going to happen. But if you went around it another way, right? If you found another path that you could plant a couple of seeds, it's going to grow in the guy's head, and you go, maybe, and that's going to be his decision, and you might have some better success. I'm just
Hopefully.
throwing that out there for you.
Okay. Anything else we need to cover today? I think there's a couple supplements guys should be highly aware of, and zinc is your friend.
Zinc. Now, having zinc, how much?
Okay, well, depends if you're treating a problem or not.
Okay. Maintenance, what would that be?
Yeah, anywhere from 10 to 25 milligrams in a day in both food and a supplement would be
Okay.
sort of minimum.
Okay.
When we're trying to treat, it could be anywhere up to 150 to 200 milligrams a day.
Okay. So can you overdo it with zinc?
Absolutely, yes.
You can. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
because it'll put off copper.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So go and see Linda. Find out how much. How would you know? How do you know how much you guys should take? Like if I came in and said, "Hey, Linda, how much zinc should I?" Other than look at the whites of my eyes, how would you go? You need X amount.
Yeah. Well, I guess you got to listen to the whole history. That
So it's
takes
a holistic thing. It's not just one thing you can like, okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
But
and out there, people will talk about white marks in your fingernails. Okay, there. See, everybody does that right away. Looks. Okay, how many have I got? So you owe me $10 for each one you have.
I don't
there.
have any.
Oh, come on.
Are you serious?
Wow. See, so you're taking.
But I'm
yourself-
seeing you on a regular basis, so that's probably the reason why.
Yeah, because you'd owe me a lot of money
I
sometimes.
probably would. No, I don't have any.
And
Wow, I came through that one all right.
white marks in the fingernails is not just zinc, though. It means the person's under a lot of stress, and they're probably deficient in other minerals too. So
Right.
don't narrow in on zinc. But that's one of the things people will look at.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, I must be doing okay. So if a person hasn't come and seen you yet, between 10 and maybe 50, is that a safe zone for people who, or 10 to 25?
Like, yeah, with immune system issues right now, everybody has heard about zinc helping the immune system too.
Yeah.
So, pulsing it, like put it up for a while and then drop it back down. I mean,
Okay.
if you're in a problem, a health issue of some sort, immune system or infection or otherwise, you want to have room
Yeah.
to increase the dose. And if you can't go taking zinc, no, for 150, 200 milligrams for an extended period of time.
That,
Absolutely not.
that's fair.
So,
That's fair.
looking at, like I said, 10 to 25, 30 milligrams a day is
Okay.
average
Okay.
to make all the metabolic pathways. You got to be eating well because everything works like an orchestra. You can't just focus in on individual supplements.
So make sure you guys, and guys are bad for this.
Again,
So another analogy, and this
okay.
is probably not for all guys. So I'm not going to pigeonhole everybody, put them in the same category. But for most of us, we're busy. So what do we eat? Whatever's fast, whatever's convenient. And I know that's not smart, but that's going to be the fact. We're busy. At least I'm going from my experience and me, because I'm like in work tent all the time.
Interrupt you right there. What a guy did, those salad bins in the plastic boxes.
Yeah.
Rip the lid off. I'm not sure if he rinses and washes it, but he pours the water in there, pours the water out, cuts up his tomatoes and cucumbers and whatever he's got nearby, pours the salad dressing on top of it in the box, and then out he goes. And if he happens to have some chicken or opens up a can of salmon, throws that in there too. That's fast.
That is fast.
And healthy.
That's fast. You got me there. I was going to say, yeah, but I'm just going to go grab that bag of cheesies and a Coke, and off I go. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that, but
you better not. Not if I catch you. No. And the thing is that people will tell me, but that's boring. It was simple, and boring. And I go, but opening up a Coke and a bag of cheesies and eating the same hamburger every day from the fast food joint, that's pretty boring too, in my books. So
yeah. See, and I was doing that before I got diabetes. I would be working my tail off, and I'd go, oh, I'm just going to zip over to A&W.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't do it all the time, but if I was busy, I would just go grab something. And I know that. And then now, since I've had diabetes, and it's kind of been a good thing, bad thing because you don't want it, but a good thing in the sense that it's changed. Like, I exercise all the time now. Never did that before. I'm eating much better, which I was hit and miss. And even I really tried to eat good, but when I was under the gun, I would go to wherever it was fast and convenient.
Yeah, it falls apart. Of course. Yeah. I know. Well, everybody has sort of a sliding scale depending on what's going on, but it's really looking at, what am I going to compromise? My exercise and food should be non-negotiable.
Yeah. So
let's like brushing your teeth. That's usually non-negotiable.
It is. Yeah, you're right. And so what are some takeaway tips here? We're about 10 minutes after the hour, and that's fine. This is like a live stream. We can go on as long as we want if we want to. It's our show, right? So what are some takeaways? So we want to from a food exercise. So we want to be able to maybe what we can do is on your next newsletter, or one of your next newsletters, here's some of the best practices for taking on food. Yeah. Exercise, I'll tell you.
Is it detox?
What's that?
Exercise is actually a detox. Because
you're that makes sense.
All the blood through the filtering organs more frequently, and it's a detox in itself. Because how do I know that? Because when guys or athletes become men or women get injured, all of a sudden they become more sick because they don't have the detoxification process of the circulation of the blood through all the organs anymore. They're just kind of blah. So that's when the real things start to show up that they've been managing to keep at bay with just exercise. That's why you can't just exercise. You have to detox. You have to eat well, happy thoughts. All of those things contribute to keeping you're smiling. Okay. The greebles away.
Happy thoughts. I'm thinking, okay.
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting these days.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So I
But
will do those tips in a newsletter, and I am going to include real man's quiche
cool.
as a recipe.
And for those of you who want to get exercising, I'll tell you now. Everybody's different, so you can't peg everybody. But for me, I hate exercising. Now, you put me on a dirt bike, get me in playing a competitive game, I'm in. But to go out and lift weights or run on the jog, yeah, no. But I found you have to find something that works for you. And what works for me is I have an elliptical downstairs. And I get my iPad and I put my iPad up there. I lift a few weights and then I come over to, and it was actually a trainer that told me this. Do the thing you don't like, the thing you hate the worst, do that first. So I go and do the weights first, and then I go on the elliptical, and that's my dessert, if you will. And what I do is I like learning. So I go onto YouTube and I'll find something that I want to learn, and then I get absorbed in that. And 30 minutes later, I'm finished, I'm sweating, and I'm done. And I've learned something, and I've exercised. That works for me. Now, that may not work for you, but find something. I need to be distracted. Like I've got ADD. What can I say? So I need to be distracted. And so I that's what works for me. Linda, I don't know what works for you as far as being consistent in exercising. What would work for you?
A routine.
A routine, okay.
At the same time every day.
Yeah.
I prefer to do it in the morning. If I leave it to the end of the day, it's a good chance it's not going to happen because life is happening.
Yeah. See, and I do mine at the end of the workday, and it's kind of like a decompress for me. I've tried it in the morning, and I don't know. It doesn't work for me. But if I do it, I can do it at lunch sometimes. But if I do it at the end of the day, it's like kind of like a decompress. It's like I'm walking away from work, and especially I have a home office, so it's like I walk away from work is kind of what that's like for me. So find out what works for you when it comes to exercise. Linda's going to put some guidelines on what to eat and on what you should do nutrition wise.
And I want to close on this. Like, if you're trying to introduce one of your dear men in your family, like uncle, brother, sister, boyfriend, whatever, boyfriend, sometimes there's these old books, the male
Move it
herbal.
into the center. We can't see it. Okay. Male herbal. Okay.
This is, believe it or not, written in 1991, but it still holds, and it gives really good, detailed, but quick information for guys why we need to do this. Like, why do we need to? Because of all these things that are happening in the world today. And it explains it, and then they can grab onto that and go, yeah, here's justification. That's one thing. And Uncle Mike's, I'm going to put a plug in for this because one of my patients brought it up to me. They like Uncle Mike's all natural hygiene skin products for men made in Saskatoon. So if you get the guy interested in looking after his skin, his shaving products, whatever, they feel like they're starting to look after.
You're getting into an iffy area there, right? You're getting into an iffy area. I don't need any moisturizer cream on me, for heaven's sakes.
But if it's Uncle Mike's
Uncle Mike's, yeah. And Uncle Mike's got to look beefy. He's got to look like he's been working out, right? Yeah.
He's an interesting character. Check it out. Okay. That's
all right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. I know we went a little bit over, but this is there's a few things to kind of consider here, and we kind of focus more on the guys this time, just because, well, they need that focus and maybe a 2x4 in the back of the head. I don't know. But, we just need to kind of, especially when we're getting into the holiday season, and we know that everything is going to go out the window come Christmas. That's just going to be how it works, right? So, get a little prep work in now, and then, then you can do it again in January when you're finished. Anyways, thanks so much for showing up. Linda, thanks for all of the knowledge and wisdom you've shared with us today. Hopefully this has been a benefit to a few of you out there. leave some comments down if you've got any questions for Linda, and we'll bring them up. Not next week because we are on a pause. We're on a sabbatical next week, so it'll be the week after, and we'll be into the Christmas time, and we'll have some interesting stuff to talk about then as well. All right.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everyone. Have yourself a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye for now, guys.